Hello and welcome to the Blaston Reloaded release Q&A with developers. I am Defur, who you probably saw in the presentation just earlier, which was our first test of trying out this kind of presentation format for, just basically kind of showing off our updates. We have felt in the past that we wanted to do something more and we can do more, so this was the first time we tried this. That also meant a lot of work, so we're sorry that we haven't been as active before this update now for a week or so, but it's finally out and we're hoping to get a lot of new people into Blaston with this update. With me today I have Ben, or Tilbet, who if you're in the community, you should probably know as the game designer of Blaston, who has been working crap ton on this update. To say the least. I mean, I think the entire team has, but I know everyone's putting in the work here. For this stage, this is the first time we're doing a stage for Blaston. We're going to answer some questions. So we have this Q&A channel where people have been written text or like written questions in text. We do also allow for people to actually, I think, raise their hands. This almost feels like reality now, but like, can someone raise their hands? I see Average Noah raising their hands. Okay. Oh, there you go, people raising their hands. You're actually listening. Cool. All right, we'll go through the text questions for a bit, and then once we run out of questions there, we will take a look at the people here in the call, and then if you want to, you can then use your voice to ask us in real time. So that's pretty much it. So you said you already had some good questions, Ben. Was there something you were?
No, I've just been reading through the Q&A and there's already some really good questions in there. So should I just run through a couple of the easy ones to answer first and then pass over the hard ones to you?
That's so mean, but yeah, I mean, okay, sure. Let's go that way.
All right, average Nova ball enjoyer. Oh, come on. So will there be a fourth Nova attachment for the Nova? I know you love Novas. We're not limited to 3, but we're going to start with 3. So maybe in the future, but I think that 3 should be enough. There's already going to be millions of weapon combos, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one. Wesso, the tether's still there. Tick.
Yes, very much tick. There.
Then we've got a Dennis one. Okay. And I'll go straight to Wesso underneath, and then you can go back to that one. Will there be attachments? Will there be attachments for all weapons tools in the future? So the plan is yes, there will be attachments for all the weapons in the future. I'm still deciding on the shields. As long as I'm not just going to make attachments for weapons that just for the sake of it. I want them to actually bring something new. And the shields are really, as long as I can find a really cool way to put attachments on them, then I'll do them as well.
Yeah, they're a very different type of weapon or tool, as they're originally called. But yeah, but I'm excited for that too. Like even just and I just realized too that we haven't really like summarized what the update is, but so in the Blaston Reloaded update, we do have weapon attachments that are being added for 10 of the weapons, and 10 of those weapons will have 3 attachments each. You'll still be able to use the default version of the weapon, but then now you can track them in the game. You can see the explanation for that in the patch notes, but pretty much what we have done now is that how you progress in the game and how you unlock the weapons are different now. If you're a veteran in the game, you probably have most of this unlocked, but the attachments will be something that you will have to kind of work for now at the start of this update to get those. But for new players, it's kind of pretty much a new type of progression, right, for this update, I would say, right, Ben?
Yeah, for sure. It gives everyone something really to focus on, and you have to pick the best weapons that you like to enjoy the most, but then also step outside your comfort zone, because there's some attachments for, as you'll see, all the attachments for some of the weapons that no one uses at the moment, and this brings them back into the game in a big way.
Yeah, and my point was going to be at the end of this is that like only adding attachments to 10 of the weapons. Personally, I have no idea what's going to happen with the meta. It's like it's going to be pretty crazy to see the next kind of top level streams or anything like gameplay from the top levels players, or for anyone for that matter. But I can't even imagine how the builds will look like from now on. So there's going to be a lot to adapt to. And maybe you can take the next question here from Crazy Kai, Ben. When will the tether get removed?
Undecided. if anything.
Yeah. And so the next question from Sloed, which I can take that one. So a part of the Blaston Reloaded update is that we've collaborated with Fast Travel Games, and we've added the Cyberbow as a skin for the Luma. So the Luma is the new weapon, and the legendary skin for the Cyberbow is a skin for that. And it's also free now in the store for a week. So if you have the game, you should get on and get it in the store. You just need to claim it. I think it says that it costs 0 blast. So it'll be available for a week there. So please do get it if you have the time. And but the question itself was, do you reckon we'll see more partnerships like this in the future? It's definitely something we're looking into. This was a really fun collaboration that we did. It was a lot easier than we thought, but there was also a lot of challenges that we had to kind of solve, and a lot of questions that we didn't really know about. Like, in theory, it feels very easy. Just get the thing. But once you're actually executing this collaboration, there's a lot like, okay, who has the rights to this thing? How do we animate it? How much do we test it with the other game company? Which we did, right, Ben? Like, we had the developers from Fast Travel Games actually try out Blaston with the bow and arrow and give feedback to get a better feel for the Luma, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a great experience. They seem to enjoy playing with it, and I think that everyone else will too.
Yeah, and not to call them out, but I've heard that they had so much fun that when they were playtesting, Ben had to actually tell them to stop playing because they didn't have that much time left. So I'm just putting that out there, that they had a lot of fun.
I couldn't get them out of the regular game mode. I needed them to play the street brawl as well, but they wouldn't stop.
And yeah, so do we want to do more of these in the future? 100% yes. This is so fun, and this is a great way for us to get people into Blaston, and also for us to actually collaborate with other developers, which I know we're always focused on Blaston here, but the VR game development community is still pretty small, and it's really fun to kind of connect with other parts of the community in terms of the industry itself, not just the players, but people who are actually making the games. And Fast Travel Games is not too far away from this, where we're at in the office as well, so it was really good. So yes, we will definitely want to do more of those. And I do want to just say a final point on this, is that if you want to see a collaboration with Blaston and another game, we would be really happy if you actually tag that developer and say, you know, hey, Blaston did this with Fast Travel Games and Apex Construct. Can you collaborate with Blaston? Or like even sending them a DM or pinging them or tagging them. And when you do, let us know what you want us to collaborate with, because if they see that there's an interest they want to see this in Blaston, it's easier for us to reach out to them and say, hey, we can actually make this happen. So we're looking into a few more opportunities now. We don't really have anything more confirmed right now, but we're hoping that you're going to enjoy the Cyberbow alongside the Luma. Okay, not going to rant on too much. What was your favorite attachment to work on, Ben?
All right, I'm going to quick fire here. There's so many questions.
Yep.
So, favorite attachment to work on. I'm not going to spoil them. I want everyone to kind of play through and have a look. But I will say that my favorite so far are one of the Lumas, one of the Wildcats, and we've now got a charging hammer that reduces spread and increases speed a little bit.
And it's so cool. It has a new sound effect too. I love that.
Oh yeah.
All right, next question.
What kind of attachments will there be for weapons? So there's quite a big list here. What I do is I go through all of the weapons and I kind of see where they could fit in and what's missing from them a little bit, and I try to make sure that it's not going to be too overpowered, but also something like we play with HP, with collision, with bouncing, with there's a massive list, but I guess you'll see. Would there be a sixth nade? Yes, maybe.
I guess we got to figure out what it does first.
Yeah.
So Nasmo asks, I imagine attachments will make the game more complex and fun, but they will increase the learning curve for new players. Do you have any plans to better onboard, attract new players who might be daunted by the game's complexity? And I guess that was answered previously. So the entire onboarding process for the game now has been changed with how people... You unlock weapons now in batches on level 5, 10, and 15, I believe. And once... I'm not sure if you can... I hope you can't hear my Slack noises. But yeah, so you unlock them in batches, and then you can track them, and then you have to do challenges, which kind of makes it a bit more better than it was before, because before you just got a weapon and you had no idea what it does, but now you kind of have to focus in. I want this weapon. Okay, now I have it. What does it do? That kind of way of getting it. And we've also done changes to the single-player campaign as well to make it a bit more streamlined. That the fights that you have in the campaign is a bit better as well. So I don't know. I'm hoping that is going to help for new players a lot. Next question. I actually want to answer this. Who is your favorite team member and why is it Skoy? My reason to why Skoy is my favorite team member is because Skoy has done an amazing job with the Blaston Spectator. So one part of the presentation was that we revealed the Blaston Spectator and it's coming for a public release. It's going to be free starting May 5th. And yeah, it's finally going to be out there. So you don't need to be in some closed testing or whatever. You can just download it on Steam. If you want to showcase a match, you just jump into the lobby that you have. We've remade the UI for the entire thing, so it looks a lot better, and you can actually see the names of the weapons now, so it's easier for new players to see it. So big, like huge shout outs to Skoy for working on this, because this has been something that he and I have worked a lot on, but he has definitely taken a lot of credit, and a few others in the team as well. So actually a legit answer for that, Skoy. I hope you're satisfied.
I will add to this that soon he won't be a favorite, because you've been pushing him with the bots, and now that we've got wait for an opponent mode, the bots above 2000 LP have been dramatically increased in their difficulty.
I can't wait to see that on stream.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's keep going. When will we see our characters get more skins than 2 to choose from? It's been a year since Lake's got a skin. So, I mean, we just released an update and we want to focus on that, but we are looking into adding more content for the characters in future updates. I guess we can say that for now, and then we'll talk more about that when it gets closer to the next update.
Good answer.
Yes. When could we take our colors from Ozo and apply them to the actual arena? So this is something we have answered this in the feedback channels before. This is actually a lot harder than it seems. It just seems like you can just do this, but the way how we communicate the colors in the game with pink versus blue and how the announcer is talking about that, we kind of realized that there was a lot of things that we were going to have to rethink in the game. So unfortunately, that's not something we're going to do anytime soon. It would be really cool, but not now, unfortunately. Wait, what is this? Please describe all of the first attachments, as we now know that's on the side of the bots. I do not understand what I just read. I'm sorry. Any highlights on technical challenges on the overhaul and tuning while adding new features? I guess this is a question to you, Ben. Like, I guess balancing with adding attachments.
Yeah, balancing is going to be a big job for us from now on. It always has been, but we've been looking in Discord and in reviews and messages and everything, and I've got all of the stats here. I'm watching closely, but I think that the technical challenges was, as you'll see in game, it's a massive UI overhaul and also the balancing.
Yes. So let's see, from Shermy here. Bullet Hell has been nerfed, buffed so many times, yet it still stays one of the most prominent loadouts in top players. Why do you think that is? That's actually a really cool question, I have to say.
Yeah.
I think I want to hear your answer too, Ben. But I think from my end, I think it's just that the way that some weapons spread, it just becomes very viable, even like at the top level, especially. People have learned how to dodge so well that you need to kind of go for chip damage, and so you need to have like a large spread of pellets. And bullet hell kind of lends to that playstyle a lot. I think at lower levels in the game or like new players, bullet hell is obviously not as popular. But for the top level, that's what you need to do to kind of, because people have gotten so good at dodging, I guess. I don't know if you have another take on that, Ben.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. It's just so easy to get a little bit of chip damage when in the top level above, say, 2,300 LP and up. Everyone's dodging so well that it ends up being a stalemate if you don't have a little bit of a bullet hell build.
All right. Do you ever see an in-person tourney happening for Blaston? So obviously this has been super difficult with the pandemic. Blaston launched before I joined, but it was launched like when the pandemic kind of started, which took a lot of wind out of the sails for getting an in-person tourney. It's very hard, I will say, as someone with a background of esports, to actually host an in-person tournament, because there's so much work that needs to be done. And Resolution Games wants to make something of quality. We could do an in-person tournament tomorrow, but it's going to be really bad. And you're going to be sad that we did that, because it's just going to be like the saddest experience ever. One thing I do want to say, though, with our collaboration with VR Master League, is that now is the best chance ever for the community to actually get an offline tournament. I have a background with esports, but also like fighting games. And one of the biggest chances, smaller, I would say, games in like fighting games communities has to have in-game or in-person tournaments, is to join up with other tournaments. So if there's an event where they host a fighting game tournament event, you add your game to that event as a community. And with Echo Arena LAN tournaments becoming a thing, I could definitely see a world where the community with VR Master League collaborates on something there, and Resolution Games helps out in some way. But for us to make our entire offline tournament by ourselves is a bigger challenge than I think more people realize. But, you know, I would love to see it as well. So I hope that we can make it happen someday. Sorry, let's blast through a few more here. Ever talk about showing you how many players are in your matchmaking range? I think we have decided against this because it can create this like very negative feedback loop. We know that there are other games that do have this, but like, I don't know, that's the easiest way to say it. Like, if you see that there's no one on at some certain point, then you will just log off instead of like waiting around. And then it will create this kind of loop where people will do that, and that will lead to less and less players. So while it is frustrating, it actually has positive, like, I guess, reasons why we don't have that. I don't know if you have a better explanation for that, Ben, but...
No, that's perfect. And hopefully now with Wait for an Opponent, we can start having you in the loadout a little bit more, maybe give you some extra things to do in the home screen, in the things like that, so you won't mind about waiting for a good match as well.
Yeah. And at the end section of this is also about like showing not numbers, but showing certain people. So with challenges, that's actually what we wanted to do. Like, we want people to kind of get active with challenges. That's like, we want to find some other way to motivate players to get online and actually get into the game. We could get a bit better on communicating with challenges, I have to admit, but that has been our way to kind of communicate that. Do you know how hard modding Blaston is? No one has ever done it, but I want to give it a shot. So I don't think Blaston has ever like been built for modding, which is probably the biggest reason why we haven't seen that. And you would probably have to break and do illegal stuff to actually mod it. So I guess that's where we end that question, unfortunately. Will there be many changes to weapons even without attachments? We have some balance updates, but overall, I mean, you would be the best one to know about this, Ben, but we are actually in a pretty good space when it comes to balancing in the game right now, I would say.
Yeah, nothing's overpowered. There's a couple of underpowered things, but so the way that I like to do it is I've got a meta in mind, and there will be changes to weapons all the time, not just attachments.
Yeah, and also to just not correct you, Ben, but like give context. And when we say nothing is overpowered, nothing is underpowered, is that we're actually looking at the statistics of numbers of how things are dealing damage. We're not just gut feeling it, saying like, "Oh, this is not bad." Like we actually have the stats, and we are looking at those when we do. But also, of course, looking at how players play, how tournaments are working out, and stuff like that too. Will we see another game collab at some point? We have already answered this, but we want to, if we can. Reflector Blade, no. Sorry. What do you think about 9-gun loadouts? I think the game has actually only been built for 6 spawn slots, and if you introduce more weapons, that can also introduce a lot more projectiles, which can lead to really bad frame rates, I would assume. Are you recording this? Yes. Thank you for the reminder. Will we ever see a 1 cooldown or 15 cooldown item? Very specific.
Possibly 1. 15, no. No.
The holy hand grenade.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just setting us up for failure with the 15. But 1, sure, something like, I don't know, let's throw out a couple of things like ninja stars or something throwable or something really quick rotating. Not sure, but 1 is possible.
Maybe the macro ray? Yeah, if you're new, that's just like an really old joke that is almost like beating a dead horse at this point. Will anything happen with the vector? I think we did balance it this update, right? Or there was something changed?
Yeah. So the vector now fires 3 projectiles at once, and you've got 2 ammo. So it's 6 projectiles just like it used to, but now you can rotate it a lot quicker, so you can fire it out, throw it away, and get it back up much quicker.
Do you want the game to be more focused on fast reaction time or precise dodging of slow bullets? Yes. Or, I don't know.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on height and reach, especially short versus tall players? I think it's really cool to see that there are different playstyles for how you are different in reality and how that can be reflected in Blaston. Maybe there are some benefits of like being taller, but I don't see that as like game breaking currently. I think it's just a very skewed in that the best player currently right now is very tall. So that is my short take on that. Sorry, we're trying to really get through these now and see if someone is raising their hand. Will there be any plans to implement damage resistance multiplier for matches where the duels? Sorry, this is a long question.
I can answer it. So we've thought about this.
Could you just repeat the question for the recording, though? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Will there be any plans to implement damage resistance or a multiplier for matches where the duelists have a large difference in league points to give the top players more of a challenge and give newer players a chance to fight? I know this may encourage smurfing, but maybe you could work around that. It definitely will encourage smurfing. And the fact that you can actually go down league tiers now as well doesn't help that. But I've got a lot of notes on how to actually possibly bring some kind of low LP to high LP matchmaking.
All right.
So there might be plans.
Okay. And will there be plans for a poison or fire effect to cause bleeding damage? Not right now, or but
possible.
Go more in depth on the Spectator client changes. I won't go too far on this, but obviously the UI has changed. It is a full-fledged client right now with a main menu. You can still, the main aspect of the Spectator client is to join specific lobbies and knockout tournaments, so that you can kind of follow a knockout tournament or watch a specific lobby. What else? We have adjusted the camera angles as well, but Once it releases, I think we'll add some patch notes for that for you. So you will be happy to see that if you have been using or watching the Spectator client previously. It looks smooth. Is this 128 hertz? Maybe that's your screen. I don't know. Blast on land when? Yes, answered before. Will we ever get Gymbox as a skin?
It's a serious question. We're not going to meme over this.
Yeah.
It doesn't. We've you guys have been asking for this for a long time, and we even entertained the thought, but it doesn't really fit into the game very well. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe if your memes break us down in a year's time, we might add it in.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's funny, but it's also like, what could we do instead of that? And so when we plan out what we're doing and adding to the game, it's of course it's like, you know, what could we do instead of that that actually adds to the experience and is not just a funny joke kind of thing? That is, I guess, this line of thinking. Will there ever be a way to create custom skins? The game is not really built for that, unfortunately. Maybe if there's a Blaston 2 someday. Cost a ton. Oh, okay, yeah, that's yeah, sorry. Where's my Nova banner? You asked me this like last week. Like I can't just print a banner in a day. But yeah, we did actually add a few banners. So you have the VRML support banner, which you can get in the store now. You will also be able to get it by signing up to the VR Master League. There are more banners for VR Master League that will be connected to the actual league. So we'll have like 2 other banners that are for the top placing players. So if you participate in that league and it goes well for you, you will have some more banners there. Can we have an option to mute the announcer? Sorry, but no.
Just turn down the sound.
Yeah. What do you think about making small balance changes in between the updates to shift the meta so one strategy doesn't dominate everything? To me, I think that this is my own opinion, and don't take this as like the company's opinion, I guess. But I feel like a lot of players, when they play Blaston, get stuck in one way, and like when they find a comfortable style, there's very few people that like go out of their way to find new styles to counter that. I feel when I see the meta that there are room for like new things to happen, and I do think that we see that when, for example, in tournaments at the higher level, you know, like how many times now haven't Josie brought out the Nova Hurricane, even though it's like seen as the worst weapon, and then actually won a round because it was not expected. So while there could be balance changes between the bigger updates, that would require us to pull resources to do that, because making an update actually takes a lot of resources, unfortunately. Like you have to spend time to get everything together, test it so nothing breaks, and then we would go back to the way we would release updates at the beginning, which was once a month, where we couldn't do cooler, bigger things. So I hope that makes sense.
I will add as well, if you watch something like the Invitational or any other of the cool streams that we've had with all of the different competitions, things like that, there's not, what I've seen, there's not ever a single strategy being played by every single player as well. So it's quite difficult to, if we want to make a small balance change between updates, it's difficult to kind of balance things that aren't OP just because people are using a small amount of people are using one certain build very well.
Sorry, we'll just go through the final ones here, and then we'll kind of go and see if anyone else has anything that they want to add through the voice. Was it difficult to add the ping counter to the game? I don't think it was difficult to add it because we were measuring stuff anyways. The difficult part was to define how it is supposed to look like and what is defined as like bad ping. What is the ping to? Like when you see a ping counter in a game, you obviously just think, oh, that's just like you add it. But then when you actually create a ping counter in a game, you have to ask yourself questions like, okay, what is deemed as like a good connection, a bad connection, a connection to the server? both players' connection to the server or one of them. Like a lot of these types of things has to be answered, and so that would believe is the challenge from what I've heard from our developers. I think, unless you have anything to add, Ben.
Yeah, compared to everything else in the update, it was like 2 out of 10.
Yeah. Do you think Blaston will eventually be taken over by teenagers? No. Are there any plans to add 2v2 in the future? A question that we've answered several times in the Discord as well, but what that would imply is that we have to rebuild the entire game. And some people do not believe us when we say that, but that is the honest truth, and that would require basically, I would even think it's more resources than making the original Blaston, because you have to account for so many different niche scenarios that you can't really imagine. Like a lot of people will say, oh, but if you share the health bar, yeah, but what happens if maybe you grab your friend's weapon, or like there are twice the amount of projectiles in the game, will like the optimization hold up for that? Like there's so many different questions that even if we did define what 2v2 is, actually rebuilding the entire game would probably take like years, you know. So we of course want to see that, but unfortunately it's very, very difficult right now. I know the video said you made graphic enhancements, but I wanted to know if you fixed the frame rate issues when there are multiple avalanche nade cages in the arena. I'm not sure about that specific point, but to your point, I am not very good at explaining this technically, but you will notice that when you play the game now, everything just looks very more crisp. And we've also gone into kind of optimizing the game for like all the textures and particles and stuff like that, so that it should run smoother, which hopefully takes care of that thing that you're talking about.
There's also 2 less projectiles in Avalanche Nade now, so that's 4 less if there's 2 nades going off at the same time. So hopefully that helps as well.
Yes. Can you advertise my tournament? Yes, we have talked about this, and Oolong can actually do this, but of course you can get the tournament organizer role in the Discord, and you can post that in the event signups, but we do need to kind of get some information from that. Does the game run at 90 Hz on Quest 2?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Will you make the game pay to win? No? Never?
Never.
All right, that are all the questions in there. We do have a few people here in the chat that have some questions, but we have Ho first here. I'm hoping that you're available, so I'm going to invite you now and see if you are available to leave a question. If you don't respond in 5 seconds. Oh, here we go. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh my God, this feels like a radio show. Like I feel like I'm in the welcome. You're tuned in. Hello. Do you have a question?
I actually clicked on that button thinking that it was a hi-fi button.
Perfect. Well,
So
that's great.
yeah, I was going to say hi by pressing that button.
Well, hello, and it's good to have you here. I've seen you in queue several times. I know we have faced each other, but thank you. Do you have a question? Otherwise, we'll go to the next one.
I think I would pass it on to the next person. Yes.
Okay. Well, have a great day.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. Great. Next up, Mosaic. Do you have a question for us? Hello.
Awesome. Is there any possibility of the Quest 2 ever receiving the 120 hertz?
I think this is an optimization question, right, Ben? Or like...
Yeah, I can get the answer to you shortly. 1 minute.
We're live checking it. I think it is one of those, like, it sounds easy to just enable, but it might just like make everyone's experience really terrible.
No, I don't think it's easy at all. I know that's asking the hardware to do a lot. That's like the max frame rate of the Quest 2, and you have to. And y'all's graphics are already amazing, so I know asking it to run at even like 30 more frames is asking a lot. I just didn't know how much overhead y'all had if you're like totally maxing out the Quest 2 already.
Yeah, no, that I appreciate the thought to that. Ben, do you have an answer?
Coming back to you shortly. I'll get the answer to you shortly, so we can go on to the next question.
Okay,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for the question. All right.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. Next up, we have Grant, and we will respond to Mosaic afterwards. So, Grant, do you have a question for us? We're inviting you now. Yes, a bit.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. And I'm sorry for someone who asked this question, but first, love the game. Thanks for all the hard work you guys do. Any hope on any merchandise?
Oh, that's a fun question. Thank you. I have answered that previously, but it's good that you asked that because so we did have merch for Blaston for a bit. What we realized was that it was actually a lot more difficult for a game company to just be like, hey, we're selling stuff now, because it's very different from selling something digital and actually selling something physical. If you're in our other community, Demio, you will notice that we do have merch for Demio. We're collaborating with a store now, and it took a long time to get to that point. So I'm hoping at some point that will also kind of extend to our other game titles. But you can kind of tell that we're on the way, so hopefully sometime soon.
Awesome, great. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Man, did you have the response, Ben, to the 120 hertz?
Yeah, we've got very little headroom. 120 hertz isn't in range at the moment.
Okay. Well, good that it was asked in any case.
Yep.
All right. We'll take the last two questions here, and then we actually have to get on to make sure that the build is not on fire. So next up we have Heritage. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You are now invited to talk.
Wow, Defer, you are actually the first person here to actually pronounce my name right.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Do you have a question for us?
Okay, let's say, hypothetically. So we obviously have two weapons that are different, which is the normal variant of a gun and a ellipse version of the gun. And I want to know if, let's say you, with the weapon attachments, if you were to add, a curved version of the normal weapon, what would happen to the ellipse variation of it?
Yeah, we've thought about this a lot. So we've got a lot of attachments that we're going to be able to make bounce like the vector, which means that when we do that, we're going to enhance the original version and give it a little bit of oomph. So it actually makes it a little bit different than the attachment version.
Yeah, I think we've kind of seen that too, especially with the hammer in the last update, I believe, is that like when we lowered the CD, people were kind of using the regular hammer as like a setup for like the ellipse and stuff like that. But I hope that answers your question in any case.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, also do not let average noble ball enjoyer, that is Scrubwood by the way, please do not let him on here, I beg, please.
I will have the mute button closer to heart. Thank you for the question, Heritage, and see you around.
Yeah, I absolutely love this game. I actually got into this because of the top 10 weirdest esports. I was like, wait, I know this game, so I just bought it, and I'm just here.
Great to hear that.
Awesome.
I love that video too. Thank you. All right. Okay, brace for impact, and I swear, if this person screams or something like that, you're on a short leash. So everyone brace for impact here now. But you are now invited, and let's see if you have a question. ... Okay, no, not coming up to the stage. Or going to let the invite go in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, okay. I think that does it for this time. I'll do the classic. We can allow for one more question. So if you have one more question in the call right now, you can raise your hand, and the first one I see to raise can get a question. But otherwise, we were going to sign off, and it's been great. This was actually a lot of fun. Like, it feels like I'm a radio show host. Like, not being on camera actually makes you way more relaxed. Anyways, we hope that we can see you in Q this weekend, and of course, spread the word. We can't do this by ourselves. The update is out now. Let people know, and I hope you have some really fun times with the new update this weekend. Attachments, seasonal modes, content, all of it. Yeah, I think that about does it. So thank you, and see you around. I do not
Thanks,
know
everyone.
how to end this, by the way, but we'll find out. Okay, bye everyone, and we'll
Bye.
upload the thing on YouTube later. So thank you and bye.